All right, I'm going to be doing a video about the recent Kingdom Heirs news, the big news for them, and how that relates to Dollywood. To start out, this surprising news that nobody saw coming: bass singer Jeff Chapman and tenor singer Jacob Ellison are both leaving the Kingdom Heirs. This is the official statement from the Kingdom Heirs Facebook page. The Kingdom Heirs are announcing the resignation of vocalists Jeff Chapman and Jacob Ellison. The Kingdom Heirs have always been dedicated to sharing the gospel and providing Christian entertainment to millions of people from around the world, and will continue to do so. The Kingdom Heirs family want to wish Jeff and Jacob much success as they move on to other opportunities. Jeff has been a major part of our sound for more than 20 years, and Jacob has added his own unique style to the group for the past 2 years. Jacob's resignation will be effective April the 3rd, and Jeff's will be April the 17th. And it goes on to say thanks to everybody. And this is Dollywood's statement. For 38 years, the Kingdom Heirs have been cherished members of the Dollywood family and an integral part of the Dollywood experience for our guests. We fully support them during the current time of transition from the group. We look forward to many more memories from our favorite Southern gospel group. God bless. And there was a small update today from the and it was, as we move forward in our position in ministry at Dollywood, we are accepting submissions for the bass and tenor singers, and for those interested, it goes through some details there. But basically, they're taking applications. So this Jeff Chapman, the bass singer, is going to the Gold City Quartet, and Jacob is going to a church in Florida. This is surprising news and not expected, obviously, because the season's only 2 weeks old and they've already been singing. Also, they got a new album that's not even out yet. It comes out next week officially. And then there was a blog talking about the Kingdom Heirs on the Dollywood Insider page as well, a couple weeks before the season started. The main question that people have asked me is, are they connected? Is there something going on behind the scenes? And I do not know the answer to that, so I'm not going to speculate. I wouldn't think anything is going on, but that is one thing. One of the common questions you ask is, what's going on while they both leaving at the same time? Could just be coincidence. It may not be anything much to it, but Jacob leaving is not really a shock. He's only been with them 2 years, and he don't like from what they sound like, he didn't really grow up a Southern gospel guy, and they got him from Lee College. But so him on his own is not a surprise. But he also did handle, I think, at least most of the social media postings. So that's something that they're going to have to fill at that part as well. But Jeff is the big story. Jeff is, if you don't know, Jeff is considered probably one of the best bass singer in all of music. I guess Aaron McCune from Dale and Vincent would be the other one in that conversation. But he's been there 20 plus years. So, the bass singer and the tenor singer are the two kind of highlighted parts to a Southern Gospel quartet. So they're losing both of them. And like I said, Jeff is as good as it gets in bass singing, and like I said, he's been there 20 years. But like I said, I'm not gonna speculate too much, but I know Dollywood does offer insurance and some form of benefits to their employees. And I wouldn't speculate here, but I would assume the Gold City Quartet does not. So usually not many times in life the Lord will lead you to take a job that requires you losing your insurance. Maybe that's the case, but that's one of the first questions I had was that, because I think Jeff is in his 50s. I don't think he's 62 yet. So, so that was one of the main questions I personally had. But one of my friends, talking to him, he brought up a good point, and that was he was surprised that Dollywood does not make all their performers sign one-year contracts. That way, if there's turnover, you're not in the middle of the season and scrambling around trying to find replacements, especially for them, because honestly it's just a bad look for Dollywood in the group to lose 2 people 2 weeks into the season, and it's just a bad look all the way around. So that's something I would recommend them doing, is making people sign one of your contracts. And I also think it's fair to, if you followed my videos, you know that they're one of the highlights for me going to Dollywood, and because they've been there my entire life, 38 years going to the park. But I also think it's fair to ask the question, is this the end after 38 years? It's not a genre of music that's popular amongst the youth. And in fact, there's a lot of people I've already seen saying that I feel like you're split on this topic. Either you've never been to see the Kingdom Heirs or you love the Kingdom Heirs. And a lot of times that's a generational gap as well. But so there is that divide as well. But it is, I think, fair to question, is this the end? Because all good things must come to an end. I certainly don't want them to leave, but you also don't want to see them be like a shell of themselves, because they're down to 2 singers, and you might even say 1.5, because Andy does plays instruments as well. And they did get a new, I assume, a 4-time musician that was new as well. But these are the type of guys that you just can't replace. The other thing too is that Arthur left around the same time last year as well. So, and they were scrambling around, and truthfully, they never got over Arthur leaving. I mean, Arthur had one of the best lead voices in all our gospel music. He had the personable, he was recognizable because he was so tall, and they never really replaced him. And if I'm being honest, I don't think they sound. I think they sounded better if I was rating them then than now, just because of that. But even though when I saw them opening weekend, they sounded great, and I loved them. But you just can't replace guys like Chapman at bass and Arthur, and even like with the tenor singer, even though I said it wasn't a surprise, finding a tenor singer in 2023 is really hard to do. That you can't just go to the store and get one of those, because finding a man to sing the woman's part is hard to do. I would assume that they'd have some fill-ins, because they had fill-in bass players when I was there a couple weeks ago. But that's, hopefully it's not, the end, but it certainly is a shock and some bad news, because it definitely feels like the end of the era between losing Arthur last year and now losing Jeff as well. It's just, it's tough, because, even if they get somebody new, it's going, they got to practice, they got to learn songs. So, it's going to be hard to replace those guys. And I don't think they really ever will, but hopefully I'll be proven wrong. But leave me a message. Let me know what you think. And like and subscribe.